Hello, Math 1 students. Today is Monday. Today is April the 6th. I hope all is doing well. This is working from home. We're going to look at, I hope all is being safe. You're keeping your social distances. Everyone, please be washing your hands and keeping everything getting sanitized. Well, let's get right into our lesson. Let's look at strategy 19. Let's divide our fractions. So the product of a number and its reciprocal is 1. For example, the reciprocal of 3/4 is 4 over 3, and 3/4 times 4 over 3 is going to equal 12 over 12, which equals 1. To divide a fraction, we're going to rewrite the problem as a multiplication by the reciprocal of the divisor. To write the reciprocal, switch the numerator and the denominator. A whole number can be written as a fraction with a denominator of 1. So we can consider that the division problem, 3 divided by 3/4 divided by 1/4. So there are 3 groups of 1/4 and 3/4. So 3/4 divided by 4 over 1 is going to equal 3. When written as a multiplication by the reciprocal, the problem becomes 3/4 times 4 over 1. And then we're going to simply multiply the 3/4 times 4 over 1, and then that becomes 12 over 4. And so that's going to equal 3. Now there is another way that we can write this. And let me show you this really quick. Okay, so here's our problem. Now we can write this, we can simplify this because we know that 4 and 4 will divide into each other, and that will give you a 1. So now we can say 3 times 1 is 3 and 1 times 1 is 1. And we know when we divide 1 divided by 3, that is going to simply give us a 3. Now it says to divide with a mixed number. First we're going to convert each mixed number to an improper fraction, then divide it as with the fraction by rewriting the multiplication. So this, when we read this is what it's talking about, an improper fraction. Right here when it talks about the 4 over 12. Now, if some of you are saying, well, how did you get that 3 over the 4 over 12? Let me show you real quick. So all we're going to do is we're going to simply divide 4 divided by 12, and that will go 3 times evenly. And that is how we get the 3 there. Please remember, if you have any questions, you can always email me. math1@gjcc@gmail.com. So let's go to our first example. Let's get right into this. Okay, so let's look at example 1. An online class has a total length of 5 1/2 hours of instructions. The class is divided into 3 sections of equal time. How long is each section? So first it says we're going to divide 5 1/2 divided by 3. And then it tells us, it's going to say, then we're going to rewrite this 5 1/2 as 11 over 2. So you're saying, okay, so how are we getting that 5 1/2 is going to be 11 over 2? So let me show you real quick how we get that. So first off, we're going to say 2 times 5 plus 1. And that's going to be over 2. So if we work this out, we're going to do our order of operations, and we're going to say 2 times 5 is going to equal 10 plus 1 over 2. And that is how we get the 11 over 2. So after we get our 11 over 2, we know we're going to flip our number because we have a 3 over 1. So then we're going to show, it shows us here that we are going to multiply times 1 over 3. So we know that's going to give us, we say 11 times 1 is 11, and 2 times 3 is 6. So then we know we have this smaller number on the bottom, so we're going to divide that. 6 divided by 11 is going to go 1 time. 1 times 6 is 6. And then we're going to subtract that, and that's going to give us a remainder of 5. And that is how we get our 1 and 5 over 6. Right here. So we're going to, each section of the class will last 1 and 5/6. Alright, so let's go to example number 2. Alright, so example number 2 reads, a serving of salsa is 1/2 a cup. How many servings are there in 3/4 a cup of salsa? So it tells us to divide 3/4 divided by 1/2. So it says to write the problem as a multiplication by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2, or 2 over 1. So it says to simplify the fraction and multiply. So right here it's showing us how we're simplifying it. Our 3/4 times 2 over 1, and that's going to give us 3 over 2. And then we know how we're going to get, and it shows us it gets the 1 and 1/2. Let me show you how to work that out and get that. So we're just simply going to divide 2, we'll divide into 3. We know 1 time. It's going to be 2 with 1 remaining. So that is how we get the 1 and 1/2 right here. So we know that are 1 and 1/2 servings and 3/4 cup of salsa. Remember, if y'all have any questions or anything, please email me. You can email me at math1gjcc@gmail.com. And then also, let me show you the other way that we can work out this problem. So, we have worked this problem out. We can, instead of simplifying it, we can simply just work out the problem. So we can say 3/4 times 2 over 1. And if we just work it out, we know we're going to get 6 over 4. And so we can divide our 6 over 4, or 4 divided by 6, we'll go 1 time with a 2 remainder. And so we're going to end up with 1 and 2/4. And then we'll simplify that, and 1 and 1/2. Because we know 2 will divide into 2 1 time, and 2 will divide into 4 2 times. There we go. So there's 2 different ways that you can work this problem out. Okay, so let's go on into our example number 3. Alright, so let's look at example 3. So Shelby ran 2 1/4 a mile before work on Wednesday. On Saturday morning, she ran 12 1/2 miles. How many times as long as her Wednesday run was her Saturday run? So it tells us to divide. We're going to divide 12 1/2 divided by 2 1/4. So then it tells us to rewrite the mixed numbers into improper fractions right here, and it's going to say 12 1/2 divided by 2 1/4 is going to give us 25 over 2 divided by 9 1/4. So let me show y'all how we write this out. Okay, so we can look at do our order of operations. We can say 2 times 12 plus 1. So we know 2 times 12 is going to give us 24 plus 1 over 2. And that's going to be divided by 4 times 2 is going to give us 8 plus 1 over 2. So then we know we're going to have 25 over 2 divided by 9 over 2. And so that is how we got our 25 over 2 divided by the 9 over 4. So we know our next step we're going to do is we're going to have to write the problem as a multiplication by the reciprocal right here. So then we're going to have our 25 over 2 divided by 9 over 4. And then that is going to give us the 25 over 2 times 4 over 9. So we can work these out, or either we can reduce it. And so here it is showing us that we reduce it. Let me get rid of this extra one here. Okay, so let's look here. We're going to, it's telling us in simplest form, or we can multiply. So we can look at, we know 2 and 4 will go into each other, so 2 will go into 4 2 times, and then 2 will go into 2 1 time. And so we can simply just multiply. 25 times 2 is going to give us 50, and then we know 1 times 9 is going to be 9. So then we can divide to see how we get the 5 over 5 nines. So we know 9 will divide into 50. That will go 5 times. So we know 5 times 9 is going to give us 45 with a 5 remainder. And so that is how we're going to get 5 and 5 over 9. Right there. It shows Shelby's Saturday run was 5 and 5 ninths time as long as her Wednesday run. Okay, so let's go to our guided practice. Okay, so guided practice number 1 says Ben has a measuring cup that holds 3/4 of a cup. He needs to measure 5 1/4 of a cup of water. How many times does he need to refill the measuring cup? So down here it gives us a couple of things to think about and to look at. So let's look at right here, and it tells us to think. I need to find 5 1/4 divided by 3/4. The second number in this problem is less than 1, so the answer will be greater than the first number. That is our problem that we're going to think about. Now in our solution down here, it shows us that we're going to come up with 24 divided over 4. So let me work this out for you to show you how we're going to get this answer. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to take our fraction. So we're going to say 4 times 5 plus 1 over 4, and that's going to be divided by 3 over 4. So we're going to work this out. So we're going to say 4 times 5 we know is 20 plus 1 over 4 divided by 3/4. And then we're going to add that together, so 21. So then we're going to get 21 over 4 divided by 3/4. So we know when we are multiplying, we're just going to flip it, our 3/4. So that's going to be 21 over 4 times 4 over 3. Now here it is showing us the simple way that we can do that, and we can simply right here, we can simplify. And so we know that 4 and 4 would go into each other 1 time, and 3 and 21 will go into each other. So 3 will go into 3 1 time, and 3 will go into 21 7 times. And so we're going to say 7 times 1 is 7, and we're going to have, and 1 times 1 is 1, and then we're going to have, and that's going to equal 7 over 1. Now the other way we can multiply this out is we can just go ahead and say, okay, so let's look at 21 times 4. And that is going to give us 84. And so we're going to have 84 over 12. Woo, it's kind of a big number there. But the lucky thing about that is that 12, spot over here, we'll divide into 84 7 times. So 7 times 12 is 84. So our answer is going to be 7, which is the same as the answer here. Okay, so let's go into our guided practice number 2. Okay, our guided practice number 2 says a rectangular park has an area of 5/8 square mile and a length of 1 1/4 miles. What is the width of the park? So we have our answer A, B, C, D. So let's think here. It's telling us to think. So the area is equal to the length times the width. So the width is equal to the area divided by the length. So I need to find 5/8 divided by 1/4. The second number is greater than the first number, so the answer will be less than 1. Now here in our solution, it shows us our problem written out. And then it shows us that we can simplify because we know that 5 will divide into 5 one time. And then we know 4 will divide into 8. So 4 will divide into 4 one time. And 4 will divide into 8 two times. And we can just simply multiply that out. And that's going to give us 1/2 of a mile. Now, the other way we can work this out is we can keep our problem and we can say, okay, so let's go 5/8 times 4/5. And if we just multiply this out, it's going to give us 20/40. So we know that these both will divide into 20. 20 will divide into 20 one time, and 20 will divide into 40 two times, which is going to give us our same answer of 1/2. I hope y'all have enjoyed this video of me going over these examples in guided practice. I'm going to put your independent practice up. It's going to go into the Google Classroom. You can go to into the Google Classroom and you put in the Google code. It's 2MK74E3. I'm going to let y'all work question 3 through 9 on your own. But you can go into the Google Docs and complete that. Should be, most of it's going to be multiple choice. There's a couple of problems that you'll just work out on your own without the multiple choice answer. But I just want to see how well you get this. And then, of course, at any time, if you have any trouble or anything, you can always contact me at math1jgcc@gmail.com. You can always message me on Facebook. You can send me a quick little message. Also, too, I'm going to put some assignments up for you that's going to go along with this lesson in IXL.com. Remember, your username is going to be your first name, number 1, and your password is going to be joyful1. Also, there are some assignments and there are some more videos that you can watch in TABE Academy. Remember, we only have a certain number of seats in TABE Academy, so remember, if you want to go on and look at those videos, anytime you can email me, you can send me a message on Facebook. I'll do my best to get you on as soon as possible. And remember, your username there is your first name, number 1, and your password is going to be happy1. There again, I hope y'all have a great, great day. Enjoy this beautiful weather that we're having today. And I really do miss y'all. And of course, if you have any questions or anything, please just let me know. You know, we're all thinking about y'all, and we miss you very much, very, very, very much. So, have a great day, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow.